Hey YouTube, so we're all teaming up to do our own individual collab videos about Folsom Street Fair. All three of us went to San Francisco together and really enjoyed ourselves. We did all sorts of things. We met up with Gay Family Values, we did a video with them, we hung out with them. We stayed in the city of San Francisco, got to walk around, got to check out. Obviously we got to check out the Castro district, which is like the gay mecca for Americans all over the country. And so we went there, we checked out Golden Gate Park, and one of the last things that we did is that we went to Folsom Street Fair, which is a notorious festival known by people all over the world. It's basically all about sex fetishes. So it mainly services the leather community and the S&M or sadomasochist community. So when you go there, you see a lot of people wearing leather harnesses, a lot of people whipping each other, a lot of people just doing those kind of things, and those are turn-ons for some people. So for that community, that's who it serves, and it serves both the gay and the straight community, but it has a very big gay following, more so than the straight community. And so we got to go there and check it out, and it was definitely a sight to see. It was quite a spectacle, and the cool thing is that it wasn't just people from that particular community that were there. It wasn't just Leathermen, it wasn't just people, S&M people, but it was just even bystanders and citizens of the city that just decided to walk through and just check it out because they were curious. So there were plenty of people with clothes on, but there were also lots of people with clothes off. And so nudity actually is allowed in the Folsom Street Fair, and up until I think this year in 2013 it was allowed in San Francisco, just in the entire city. So that wasn't unusual to see. And so for me, I had actually been prepared mentally to go to this because I'd heard a lot about Folsom Street Fair before coming here, just on my own, without even the thought of that I was ever going to be there. But I'd heard about it before, and I'd done some research and just on different arguments of what people thought about, both positive and negative, and really the conclusion that I came to ahead of time was that I would just have to see it for myself and to have my own opinion about it and how I felt about it. And so there were, like I said, a lot of naked people walking around, mostly men, and people dressed up in funky costumes. And so some of it, there were some people there that were pretty attractive, and so I couldn't help for that to be a turn on for me. And it was all, since I was prepared for it, I didn't encounter any judgment within myself. I knew I've come to this place now recently where it's just like, hey, that's your thing, that's what you like to do in bed, so have at it. That's your thing. It's not my thing, but I can appreciate that you have something that you like, and from a distance, and I personally don't condemn it. And it's just a certain style and a way that people like to have sex and like to enjoy themselves in bed with someone else. And so there were also, we were introduced to this concept of puppies, which was very interesting. We met a friend who explained it to us, and it was just about how men will act like puppies and other men will act like their masters. And the people that act like puppies go into that state to kind of escape the social pressures of society, and to just be able to just have all that outside of their mind and just be simple and just enjoy being a puppy. And once again, it's interesting and it's their thing, and I personally don't condemn it. But it's not my thing either. I'm not into it. But I could appreciate it, and so that was nice. And so even though there was a lot of kinky stuff going on, as Fabian said, some of it was a turn on, but at the end of the day, it really just couldn't compare to the experience I had that morning. And I had actually come straight to Folsom Street Fair with my friend Tad, straight from Bethel Church up in Reading. That morning I was at my favorite church in the world, which is a open but not affirming charismatic church. It's very difficult to find an open and affirming charismatic church. They just haven't gotten around yet. And so, but compared to a lot of churches, this church is pretty open to that. They still see homosexuality as a sin, but everyone's welcome to come and worship if they want to. And so that's what me and my friend Tad did. As soon as we spent a few hours with the LaFews, in Santa Rosa on Saturday. We hit the road, me and Tad, and left Fabian and Todd over at the LaFuse house to sleep over, and me and him hit the road for about 3 hours on the road to go north towards Reading, and slept overnight and got up early, went to the 8 o'clock service, and just had a blast. I'll have to make another video about that to go more into it, but my experience there just totally trumped anything that I could have experienced at Folsom, and as a young person, I'm easily turned on, so sexually by lots of stuff, and I would have thought that I would have had a lot of good times at Folsom, but it just turned out that I was so busy having fun at Bethel Church. It's one of my favorite churches in the world, and a great place to be. Great worship, great message, great. There's no way that you can't have a good time there. At least for me, there's so many people there, like so many preachers, so many worship leaders, that it doesn't matter who's there. That I'm going to have a good time, and worshiping with a house full of other people. And so, in a charismatic way, you know, hands raised, dancing, jumping, falling out in the Spirit. I'll talk more about that later. But my point about Bethel Church is that. Having gone through that, that was like one of the highlights of my experience in California, and also one of my highlights in life, and nothing could compare to that. So even being in Folsom surrounded by hot naked guys, it just didn't compare. It was like I wasn't even there. It just didn't matter, and because I had something better. I had something that was far more fulfilling to me, and it was my spirit that was happy for the first time in a long time. When I went to Bethel Church, I felt like I was home, and so it was good to be back in an environment like that that was spirit-filled, spirit-led, charismatic, prophetic, and so to have my spirit fed that way just totally, for me, filled me in a way that Folsom Street Fair couldn't have. In general, Folsom Street Fair, I would say, yeah, it's okay. It was an experience. I'm glad I went, and just to see what it was all about. I'm not extremely turned on to it to the point that I would go out of my way to go back every year, but I'm definitely glad that I was there, and if I happen to be there at the same time, I might go back. I don't know. But for me, it was beside the point. I had a high experience with God, and so I was in another world. So that's my opinion, YouTube, and thank you guys for watching.